Hey guys, what are you doing?
Protesting? We're not doing another season.
Oh, what?
Okay, why are you protesting?
Well, first of all, I'm tired of showing up every week and this thing being a damn sausage fest. There's no girls here, ever. Ever. How are we supposed to have a show that we say we're equal opportunity and then I just have all guys? What is that?
Yeah.
You know what? I'm kneeling because I'm tired of all these lame sports that we do. Like, come on, let's run to something new and interesting, like wrestling. Tired of these lame sports.
Okay.
Okay, sports. Ryan, what are you kneeling for?
I saw everyone else was kneeling, so I just kind of, I really wanted to fit in.
I see.
Okay, listen, I understand your frustrations, guys. We want to do something different this year. This year's going to be better than ever, okay? So we're going to do different sketches. We're going to have new crew members, some of which are women.
Woo! And we'll try to factor in some new content, some new sketches, and we're definitely gonna have some cool guests. So it's not just gonna be the same old stuff.
Yeah, new stuff, sweet!
What about me?
Ryan, you just don't be a little.
You know, I can do that. I won't let you down, Scotty.
All right, let's go. Let's go to the studio. We got work to do.
Welcome back to Ultimate Sports Show, the world's foremost sports comedy show. I'm Aaron Tishkoff.
And I am Ryan Roos.
And boy, we had a pretty good summer.
I'd say so, yeah. I mean,
Our very own Jake Ferguson was out working for Fox Sports, with Rachel working for the Brooklyn Nets. And Ryan, I actually don't know what you did.
well, I went to Canada, drank legally, and only lost $150 at Windsor Casino.
Really?
Yeah, how about that?
That's not actually as pathetic as I would have guessed, but good. Let's find out what the rest of the world was up to as we start Snaps.
What's happening? What's happening? Hey!
The entire state of Mississippi went 0-10 this weekend in college football games, but so did the entire USS crew on trying to ask women out. So I'll let you decide who's the bigger loser.
Last weekend, Notre Dame battled Michigan State in South Bend. After going down 36-7, the Irish found some luck of their own and pushed a gutsy comeback, cutting their deficit to just 8. But, like most Irish men, they fell just a tad short.
Ouch. Now, there's been some controversy in the first week. It appears as if Jim Harbaugh picked his nose and ate a booger. Why don't we take a look? There it is. All right, let's break this down a little bit as we take a closer look. All right, stop right there. Stop it. It appears as if he's biting his finger, not exactly putting it in his mouth or licking it as if there was a piece of food. But you know what? It doesn't even matter how many times we watch this video or how many times Ohio State fans bring it up. Whether he actually ate the booger or not will be forever debated. But let's focus on what we do know. Ohio State instituted a degree completion program after players like Reggie Germany achieved a 0.0 GPA. Second, if you combine Florida and Ohio State, Urban Meyer's players have been arrested more than any other team in the country. And finally, according to Facebook, Ryan has been able to find a piece of free food every day so far on campus. Congrats, Ryan.
Thanks, Aaron. Speaking of eating, Jackson, Ohio will host its annual Blizzard Eating Contest on September 21st, which will have already passed by the time the viewers see this. Regardless, that sounds like an absolute nightmare. I feel like everyone just keeps eating ice cream until they vomit. Leave it to the state of Ohio to host a contest that is guaranteed to end with sticky fingers and vomit everywhere. I would just hate to be the guy who has to clean up that catastrophe.
I will not tell you how many times I've eaten ice cream until I vomited, so we'll move on. Now, we lost some major NFL stars in the last couple of years, but most recently, Calvin Johnson took an early retirement at the age of 30, just like Marshawn Lynch, DeBrickashaw Ferguson, and Tim Tebow. And with their bodies off the line, but with extreme popularity, these guys now get a life where they get paid to do just about anything. Dancing, speaking, dunking on street kids, and now baseball, as Tim Tebow just got picked up by the Mets, clearly as a way to sell more tickets and jerseys. But there's an important difference between Tebow and the rest. Lynch, Ferguson, and Johnson were good at football and earned all their fame and money with their athleticism. Tebow was a flop in the NFL, but still gets the same exact treatment. So it just goes to show, if you're going to suck at something, do it in style. Like Scotty when he plays sports.
All right.
Scotty, what the was that? For the past week, a local church has put up a chalkboard with the phrase, "Before I die," followed by a bunch of blank lines for people to fill in the blanks. Theoretically, this may have been a great idea. But let's face it, any positive idea preceded by theoretically likely went horribly wrong. Whose idea was it to give tens of thousands of college students the opportunity to write literally whatever they want without consequences? Let's just take a look at some of these. Before I die, I want to get my out for Harambe. Rest in peace. Before I die, I hope all these freaking Harambe memes die. Before I die, I want to watch enough free porn to feed a small, hungry village. What the hell does that even mean? Fear not, though, for one hero saved the day with something incredibly insightful. Before I die, I want to beat MSU and OSU. And for this I smiled, because it reflects my attitude toward Michigan football. And this year may just be the year. Jim Harbaugh, if by some miracle you are watching this, know that I have the utmost confidence in your team's ability to beat MSU and OSU on the road. And that's saying something, because I'm not usually a confident guy. And, you know,
Ryan,
I mean...
Look, he's number one, he's probably not even watching the show, so relax. You can text him, we can tell him. But anyways, that wraps up the highlights for the week. We're going to go get Ryan some water and an ice pack. So let's throw it over to Alex for some in-depth analysis on some of this week's biggest plays.
Hey everyone, Alex here from Raw with Rawlik. I wanted to preview the Penn State game this weekend, but instead of talking about the game, I wanted to talk about what happened last week. Penn State honored the 50th anniversary of disgraced former head football coach Joe Paterno's first game at PSU. You should already know it's a bad idea when I have trouble saying the name in a single breath. To recap what all this means, Joe Paterno, the man who was aware of Jerry Sandusky's child abuse as far back as 1976, had a ceremony in his honor in a stadium full of 100,000 people. I thought only the Republican nominee for president could do something so offensive and still get that many people to cheer. You know, I really don't want to be political, but Pennsylvania is an important election state, and I'm really just kind of taking a shot in the dark here, but...
I know a lot about Pennsylvania, and it's great. How's Joe Paterno? We going to bring that back, right? How about that whole deal?
Oh, Donald, you never fail me. But to your point, how's Joe Paterno? Well, he's dead. Thanks for asking. We bringing that back or what? No, Donald. I think if we're going to resurrect someone, I really don't believe Joe Pa's going to be on that list, so we're going to have to take a hard pass. Documents were recently released in part of a settlement suit between the university and the university's insurers, where a victim of Jerry Sandusky's, known as John Doe 150, testified in court that he told Paterno about the assault that had taken place in 1976, and according to John Doe's testimony, Paterno replied to him, "I don't want to hear about any of that stuff. I have a football season to worry about." That is disgraceful. But unfortunately, to tell both sides of the story, this testimony is the only information we have to go on about this event now that all parties except the victim and the perpetrator, who maintains his innocence but despite being behind bars, have all passed away. But all right. Maybe Donald wasn't talking about an actual resurrection. Scott Paterno, Joe's youngest son, took to Twitter to offer his insight. Something he does quite often, seeing as he has 67,000 tweets. Scott, you're a grown man, not a teenage girl. Coincidentally, that's also the same number of calories he consumes in a day. Paterno believed that Donald was referencing bringing back the statue of his late father that was controversially removed. Now, why would he do that? Why would people want to see a statue of a man who enabled a child molester for quite possibly all the way back until the late 70s? Because there's a cult around the man. And listen, I know all about cult-like obsessions with college football coaches. I mean, seriously, look at this image. This is the only known photo I have with me and Jim Harbaugh. He isn't even looking at the camera. This isn't the face a 20-year-old makes when he meets a football coach in passing. This is the face a 15-year-old makes when he sees his first pair of Now, super tangential, but Mia Khalifa, if you are ever in Ann Arbor or in Detroit, I promise I will make a much better effort than Chad Kelly. So believe me, I understand obsessing over a football coach, but a line needs to be drawn. When more and more evidence piles up that Paterno knew what Sandusky was doing, and he still took no action because he had a football season to worry about, Joe Paterno becomes a bad man. Joe Pa doesn't deserve a statue. He doesn't deserve a ceremony. All of the good that Paterno may have done in other aspects is negated when talking about his legacy because he neglected those children. I don't expect Scott Paterno and his seemingly one jumbo-sized necktie. That's pretty freaky. I don't expect him to ever admit that his father did a bad thing. And sadly, he's going to be riding around on his rascal scooter claiming that all the victims who testified that his father did nothing, he's going to say that they were all liars until his own demise. But the university needs to change. Pennsylvania State University needs to acknowledge that Joe Pa failed those kids. He failed Penn State, and frankly, he failed our society. So while Penn State chose to honor the memory of Paterno's first game 50 years ago, it's imperative that we as a society and sports community remember 40 years ago when Paterno left his greatest legacy, doing nothing. That's why I encourage all Michigan fans to interact with this week's game using the hashtag Joe Knew. Because if we should learn anything from Joe Paterno, it is to do what he did not, and that is to speak up. That was this week's big play, and now we go to Scotty, who's going to wrap up this week's program. Thanks for joining.
Thank you, Alex, for that incredibly raw segment. So hey everybody, it's Scotty here, and boy am I excited to announce a brand new segment here on the Ultimate Sports Show. It's called the Student Sports Analyst. Basically, we bring a random Michigan student here on set and talk sports with them. Why have a student do this analysis, you may ask? Well, because a 21-year-old with an incomplete bachelor's degree is typically just as educated to talk about the subject as those goofballs out there who somehow manage to trick someone into paying them to do the same thing. You hear that, journalists? Anyway, I am pleased to announce my guest, a longtime friend of mine who has stayed with me despite my vulgar personality, Senior Mitchell Barker. Wait, no, that should say Mitchell Becker. I'm at the teleprompter. Mitchell Becker, everybody. Mitchell, great to finally have you on the show.
Great to finally be here.
All right, before we start talking about sports, there's been something that's just been tickling my curiosity for as long as we've known each other.
Who says stuff like that?
Yeah, it was something I invented. So tell me, is it true that you're Jewish? Okay, Mitchell, great to have you back again. Let's talk sports. So, is it true that you're Jewish? No, I mean, I read the. Sorry. Can we try that a third time, please? Please. Okay, everyone. I've been briefed by our producer that such a question is inappropriate for this context. In fact, it is inappropriate for most contexts. You'd almost think that such things like religion, politics, and other social issues don't really belong in sports. But I guess if we didn't sit here and bitch about the Colin Kaepernicks of the world, we'd only have sports to talk about, and that would be boring.
Wait, we talk about more than just bullshit sports clips all the time?
All right, I'm going to have to ask you to watch your language, please.
Oh, like you do, Scotty? I've seen your other clips. You're no saint.
Son of a bitch, you're right. All right, we're already about 2 minutes and several university complaints too deep into this sketch without talking about sports. So let's talk Michigan football. How do you feel now that we've got 3 games under our belt?
I think we're pretty good. Definitely didn't look too great against Colorado, though. But it'll be good to get back some of our injured starters soon.
So what are your thoughts on this Jabril Peppers guy?
First off, it's Jabril.
Oh, really? You can grill peppers, but can Jabril them?
That's awful. Well, anyway, I love Peppers. He's a great athlete and a hell of a topping on the pizza that is our defense.
You know, that's a major issue, though. He seems like he's the only topping on that pizza. I've seen this before in years past. When people start talking about one player who's doing everything, that normally means everyone else is doing nothing. That's a major red flag.
What about Rashawn Gary in our defensive line?
Well, you know, I'd just kind of ignore that. That doesn't really go with the narrative that I'm trying to make here. So yeah, no, let's do that. Let's talk about the offense.
Jabril's pretty good on offense, too. I can't wait to get another season out of him.
Yeah, there's no way he's not going pro after this year.
Well, he came out and said that he actually wants to finish his Michigan degree.
Yeah, and you know what? Spike Albrecht said that he was officially retiring from basketball. But look what happened there, the little chicken Benedict Arnold.
Well, he wasn't that great anyway.
That's
Hey,
true.
remember when he had scored 18 points in the first half of that national championship game?
Yeah.
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about the offense then.
So does anyone else notice how half of our backfield sounds like comic book characters? You know, Eddie McDoom and Chris Evans, a.k.a. Captain America?
Yeah, and you know, our quarterback sounds like a lax bro, but unfortunately, names don't win championships.
I agree. Our receiving core does look very good, though, and I'm sure Wilton will get better as the season goes along. You know, gaining confidence and whatnot.
By Wilton, do you mean John O'Corn?
No, I mean Wilton.
Oh.
O'Corn, I like O'Corn, though, and I'm sure we'll see several other quarterbacks making appearances as we face other defenses.
I see. Mitchell, I want to talk a little bit more about stuff beyond sports analysis here. It's true that you're a student here at Michigan, right?
Yes.
Anything you want to add to that? Expand upon?
No, not really.
Oh. Your shirt. How about your shirt? That looks like it's something.
So this is a shirt for M Relay. We have and I'm very involved in M Relay. We have a 5K coming up on October 9th, so everyone watching, you should all try and participate. It's to raise money for the American Cancer Society.
Oh, nice. That's actually something nice and really important. We don't get that around here very often. Anyway, we'll put a link in the video description with a little bit more information about how you can get involved. Now let's return to the important stuff in life, not raising money or awareness for cancer. I'm talking football. So what's the deal with this Kenny Allen fella? It really seems like his kicking has regressed this year, no?
I mean, he seems decent enough. His punting just isn't very good, though.
Yeah, well, we know quite a bit about bad punts, don't we? You know, I see that guy around campus all the time, and I just hate him so irrationally because of that play.
Well, I don't think that's fair. He seems like he could be a nice guy, just a victim of circumstance.
He is much more famous than I am for doing comparably less work.
Well, Scotty, I wouldn't really say that you're famous, and I wouldn't say that you put in a lot of work into anything, let alone this show.
You know what? I think that's a great place to end. Mitchell, I want to thank you for being the inaugural student sports analyst. I mean analyst. I could almost make this whole fucking thing without a mistake.
This was nothing like at all like what you promised, Scotty. This show was terrible.
Thank you. All right, for everyone else here at the excellent Ultimate Sports Show, I'm Scotty, and we'll see you next time. Go Blue and hooray sports.